This week, we're bringing you our very special holiday gift guide episode.
We've got 10 suggestions of new games that would make great gifts for your loved ones, or hated ones, I guess, for the holiday season.
If that's what you're into, as well as some old favorites.
I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes, and this is the Roll for Crit podcast. We're going to get started right now on our holiday gift guide list for you. These are not in any particular order, from best to worst or worst to best or anything like that. And of course, there's plenty of games we aren't going to get to mention that are both old and new that we think might make good presents. But these are some ones, especially that came out this year, that we recommend. The first one that we're going to give you is Sheriff of Nottingham. This was one that came out at Gen Con and that we were lucky enough to get a copy of and play there. If you saw our Gen Con videos, you know about it. Basically, this is a game where everyone is trying to smuggle their goods past the sheriff. You can sell legal goods, but ideally, usually, you want to have contraband in there. And you actually get a little pouch that snaps shut. And on your turn, you'll give it to whoever is the current sheriff, rotates each round, and you have to lie to them about what's in there, or tell the truth. And it's up to them whether or not they inspect your bag. If you were telling the truth, they have to pay you. If you were lying, you have to pay them. So there's a lot of bluffing and bribery and fun mind games that can occur.
Well, I think one of the big things we should know is if I was the sheriff rotates each turn,
right.
And when I become the sheriff, what happens is even if I know there's contraband, like Jonathan, if I'm kind enough, unlike sometimes, I might give time for Jonathan to say, I'll pay you 6 coin not to open the bag. In which case, other players can then go, I'll give you something to open his bag.
Right. So there's there can be some spite and that kind of thing. But it's definitely a really fun game for a group. I think it's very a good party game. It only fits up to 5 people, but if you have a group of friends or even family members around the holiday time, I think it's a really good one to introduce to new players.
It's also really fun just to watch because we played the other day and I was doing something else so I couldn't fit, and plus we had 6 people there. But just watching people just like Jonathan, I mean, and like they looking at Jonathan, took someone else's bag and opened it, like just.
Yeah, it's a very theatrical game.
Yes,
it's definitely one you want to be. You want people who are going to get into it.
You actually won that one because you had one round where you just got everyone on contraband.
There was one round I opened every bag and I made like 100 coins like in one round. It was fantastic. So definitely a really fun game.
Like we said, the bags. There's something about that clicking. It's just so nice.
The bags add a lot to it. The components are nice.
Yeah, so. It's definitely a lot of fun. It's one that's not too hard to pick up, but I think there's plenty of, because a lot of it's about bluffing and stuff.
Psychological stuff.
There's a lot you can do with it.
Yep, so that is our first pick, Sheriff of Nottingham. What do we got?
Our next one is Abyss. This is another game we got the chance to pick up at Gen Con. In this game, you are vying for power under the sea, yes. By doing so, you'll need to gain the lords, you need to gain power from lords. And when someone gets 7 lords, the game ends and you calculate points. Probably if you have 7, good chance you're going to be the winning team. You gain lords by gaining pearls and buying them, as well as gaining support from the smaller creatures from the 5 tribes. Seahorses, the octopi is plural, right?
Octopi.
Octopi, yes. The shellfish, the crabs, and the jellyfish. Now, the lords actually sort of correlate with whatever they're tribe with and have special abilities, such as the jellyfish are the magicians, so they'll more like affect, maybe get an extra turn or like sort of change the way you can mess around with other people. The crabs are militants, so they're going to be more attacking and hurting others.
Right.
The shellfish, because they have all the pearls, they're going to be involving them with the money.
Shellfish.
The octopi, since they have tentacles in like everywhere, they're the politicians, so they're going to be like dealing with other people or maybe making cheaper with other lords. And the seahorses are the farmers, so they're really just huge points. That's what their big thing is.
Big points, right? Yeah, this is another game where the components are.
Oh, those pearls. When I say pearls, I mean actual little pearls, and they give you little clams where you hold it in. And usually, if you're probably is just going to be one person on the table just going like click, 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 and just.
Yeah, that's the best part of the game. Is just pearls, and the artwork is so beautiful.
No, it is one of the most. It is definitely, I think, one of the best games I've seen artwork wise.
That is, I mean, that's definitely in the medium range. It's not too hard to pick up, but there's a little more meat there.
And it's a lot of fun because what happens is to gain the cards to also help you recruit people. You're going to be flipping over cards, but you don't get first pick on them. Everyone else does, but they have to pay you for it.
Right. If they decide they want it, they can take it before you get a chance. I really think it is one of the it has some really smart mechanics, especially like to balance things out, like the way you can easily catch up. Like you never feel like someone took an early lead or anything. I think it's just really well designed.
Yeah, no, well, another cool thing is because when you play the cards to get a lord and stuff, you have to take the lowest costing one. You keep it for yourself for scoring at the end. The
card that you use
of a value of a seahorse and octopi. But what that does is, as the game goes on, there's only higher value cards in the deck because you reshuffle and stuff.
Right.
So it goes faster and faster and faster.
It ramps up at a smart pace. Yeah, we really like it.
And another really cool thing about it, we should mention, is the box cover.
Yeah.
There's actually a different box cover, one for each tribe. So that's really cool. The copy I have is the seahorse because I really like the artwork on that one. But I mean, go for try to find out which one you want.
Yeah, they're all pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's Abyss. Another recommendation. We're gonna move on to one called Concept. This was a Spiel des Jahres nominee, which might be the only one on our. Well, maybe not, but one of the only ones on our list, certainly from this year. And this Concept was a game we talked about from Board Game Geek Con that we got to play, although it came out earlier, if you saw our episodes there. Essentially, it is charades. However, rather than acting anything out, there's a board with images on it, many different icons. Some are very basic, like represent elements or just a line or shapes or colors. Some represent movies or a person.
Or real historical power, money.
Lots of different categories. And the way it works is you actually, as a team of two, you'll have a deck of cards and it'll give you either a word or a phrase, or it could be a movie title, something like that. And you have to indicate by placing cubes on the board in different places, people have to try and guess what you're doing. So for example, another example we used the other day, if your word was whale, you might put one on the animal space, and then you might put a cube on the water space to indicate animal that's in the water.
Well, I think another example, because what happens is there's the question mark, which is really the main idea.
Right, you have a pawn that is the idea, and then cubes
that match the colors.
It.
So, for example, I think we played this again yesterday.
Yeah.
We were on a team, and we got Lewis Carroll.
Right.
So for the question mark, we put it on male, and we put on writer and profession. But we took one of the concept ones. We put it on animal, and then fast, white, and time for the rabbit.
Right.
So it's sort of like. There's the main thing, and maybe other ways you can give hints.
Yeah, as the more complicated the words get, the more things you can add.
And this is actually a fantastic choice for a family because they admit, while there is a scoring system in there, really it's fun just to play without it.
Yeah. I mean, one of the main reasons I really wanted it, even though it was fun to play with us, was because I knew family members would really enjoy it, and so everyone can get it.
So you can trick family members to play board games with you.
Exactly, but because even someone who's like, oh, I don't want to play board games, that's too complicated. Everybody knows what charades is. Everybody has, especially adults, have played that.
This deck is huge. Each card has 9 options on it. 3 that are usually simpler, 3 that are middle, and 3 that are more difficult.
And we were even saying last night it'd be fun to just make up your own words.
Oh yeah,
you don't even need the cards.
But what's really nice is a lot of these cards. Like the hard suggestions are like more modern. Like one that we did, actually someone got really fast was Taylor Swift. There's also phrases like Achilles heel. What was it? What was some of the
Achilles heel?
What was that one we did the other day?
There was Graining Cats and Dogs. I don't.
Right, but there's a lot of great So there's a lot of variability. But like you said, like you suggested that one if it'd be, instead of getting cards, it'd be like video games or something. So people have to guess.
Board games. Or could be trying to name a board game. I really want to do that. It'd be fun. So concept, really excited about that one. Family, great pick. Or kids, all that stuff. They are part of a family usually.
Usually.
Sometimes.
Our next suggestion is for those who love card games. Doomtown Reloaded. Now, in this game, it's an ECG, not an LCG. Well, yes and no. The idea is, unlike a card game like Magic, Pokemon, where you buy packs and that are randomly sorted, these come in packs that you get a full play set. So you don't have to keep buying packs. You just buy that and you're good. The story itself is the town of Gomorrah, I believe it was.
I believe that is.
Pretty much, you're fighting for control of the town. There are 4 different groups currently. I think they're going to stick with that for a while, but maybe add more, so on. There is the law. There is the bandits. There is the circus. And then there is the cattle drivers. Each one has its own play style. But what's really cool is a lot of the cards have suits on them. And what happens is during a shootout, you actually play your hand like poker, and whoever's the best hand.
Yeah.
Thing is, you don't build your deck the same way as only having like 1 ace of hearts, 1 this. So you could have 3 aces of hearts, which means you're cheating.
Yeah.
And usually that doesn't matter unless your opponent has a card that punishes you for cheating, which is sort of the law's special thing, which is when I played the law and I loved that. Because it just happened every time, just like, yeah, you're getting rid of your hand.
And the other thing is that depending on which part of the game you're in, you might want either the high hand or low hand.
Right.
So you can't necessarily just stack your deck with all high cards and be successful. Usually you want to balance.
Well, it also depends because certain types of cards appear in the suit. Like law, I think, had more 3s and aces or something, and so on and so forth.
And of course, they just came out with the first saddlebag.
Yeah.
And I know people are already stressing and analyzing about the best decks to build and the different combinations.
Always. Every game, everyone's doing that. That's not that. But what's really nice is the Western theme is enjoyable. The new poker style way of combat is really cool. The box itself is really nice. It can hold, I think they said, like the first 10 expansion sleeved.
You're set for a while.
And this is just the regular box. We should say there's a collector's box, which is actually in a wood pine box. It comes with actual poker chips, which you use as markers through the game, and a full play set. So you're pretty much buying 2 copies. For the Doomtown standard set, you need 2 copies for a full play set. But you're really fine with just the first one. They give you a deck for each character.
Plus, I think some extra ones too.
Yeah, I mean, and plus once you get the saddlebag.
Yeah, there's plenty there, and also great time to get it because it is new. So
we should also mention this game fits up to 4 people.
Right.
Which is really nice, especially since it's 4 groups, and that way you can maybe make a deck for each one, and then with your friends you don't have to be like, okay, I'm only playing with you.
Right. Yeah, we gotta try that. We gotta. We
haven't done the 4-person yet. We really gotta do that.
We gotta get.
Because I did get the saddlebag too.
That'd just be a whole other ball game.
Yeah.
So yeah, Doomtown, both fans.
Yeah, big fans.
Next up is Pandemic: The Cure. You are probably familiar with the original game Pandemic as well as its many
If not,
spin-offs.
you should get that. That's your gift. If you haven't heard of Pandemic, that's your suggestion.
Well, Z-Man's been just pumping out the new versions of it. And
because each one has been... We've played every version, haven't we?
Yes,
and,
I believe so.
And I think we have greatly enjoyed each one.
Well, Pandemic: The Cure is basically the dice version of Pandemic. It is really, if you play Pandemic, you are trying to stop 4 diseases. You're all
or 5,
different roles, depending on whatever it is, and you have a special role. You might be a scientist or something like that.
Medic, transportation. It gives you the ability to.
You'll have your own powers. And as the game goes, well, in this version, the diseases are actually represented by dice, and you're trying to move around different tiles that represent different areas of the world, and you're trying to get those dice, and hopefully you get enough to roll them so that if you get a high enough number, you can cure that disease before, it's a co-op game, before the world ends or whatever.
What's interesting is to get these dice, you have your own dice, let's say like travel, capture a disease and stuff, but if you use it to capture a disease, it takes that dice with it.
Right, these aren't just six-sided dice with numbers on them, they have symbols that represent actions you can do.
Right, well those are for yours. The disease ones have numbers on them.
Right.
Which it's sort of cool, so it's sort of this balance of I can capture this disease, but I'm not going to be able to do much next turn. And so the game, it's pretty simple, which was nice. But it was a lot of fun. It was cool. You know, it's always nice to have a lot of dice and stuff.
It really is. I mean, I was surprised how it really is Pandemic, but with dice.
Yes.
It really captures that feel. It's not like some dice games. Sometimes it's like a much lighter version.
You mean it just has the skin of?
Yeah. This really is Pandemic, but you're using dice instead of a board. And like Pandemic, it has multiple difficulty levels. There's a lot of variation you can choose.
We got to play this one at Board Game Geek Con, which was a lot of fun.
We won, didn't we?
We did very well, surprisingly, compared to our other Pandemic.
Easy mode, but yeah.
But like compared to our other Pandemic games, usually our other ones were scrambling like for the last second. I felt like this one we weren't scrambling, but it was a lot of fun. The centerpiece is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. The marker is this center ring and actually has a mold of a I forget what they're called. I feel really bad. The injectors they use in labs.
Not a syringe.
No, it's not a syringe, and I know. Well, everyone I know in college is going to be angry at me because I'm totally
blanking on it. It'll come to you halfway through.
I will. We're going to be in the middle of one of our other ones and I'm just going to shout it out and you're just going to be like, what?
But yeah, good lighter version, but not too much lighter of Pandemic.
Once again, they've done a very well job with this title.
Yeah.
So I think, frankly, we're...
Any Pandemic game is a
really?
bet.
We're just saying Pandemic.
The
if you
Pandemic
see
family.
Yes. It's, especially, I can't wait for the new one to come out too.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun. All right, let's get on to our next one.
The new expansion, you mean, for the original game?
No, I mean the Legacy.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah, but we'll get to that when it comes out. So
go ahead.
Our next suggestion is D&D Attack Wing. Now, you may know Dungeons & Dragons. You may also know the Attack Wing series. This is a combination of both. There's so far, I believe there's a Star Trek and Star Wars Attack Wing, but two different people make them.
Yeah, it's complicated.
This one falls under WizKids, so that would be the same as Star Trek. Pretty much, you are in control of flying creatures. The base comes with dragons, but I know there's like banshees and other creatures that you can get. And you are pretty much doing air combat battles, which is really cool because, like all the other ones, like your positioning matters. Like you have a directional arrow, amazing figures. That's a big thing, like these huge dragons.
Yeah, this is definitely a good one as a holiday thing because it's always fun when there's something with miniatures. It's like
the box itself shows it really nice, so it's one of those ones that's a flashy gift.
Yeah, I think, go ahead.
The Attack Wing series, we've already seen it's popular. It's a lot of fun.
Well, basically, it's Star Trek Attack Wing, and then X-Wing is the Star Wars, they're pretty similar. This is, I think, the only game on the list we haven't played.
Yes.
But ourselves, but we've played X-Wing, and so we feel like we have a decent idea of the layout. We've seen it in action. Mm-hmm. And it's that. This is definitely this is for the hardcore end for somebody if you're buying for them, or if they just like miniatures.
Well, one, if they like miniatures. Two, you are delegating them to a life of buying more miniatures.
Right.
Which, depending on it depends who you're buying it for, obviously.
But now you have gifts for them for the next few years.
Oh, I know. Some of my gifts for my friends are specifically ththings, so I know I can give them gifts for the rest of the time.
Right. Oh, here's Skylanders. I never have to worry about you anymore. That's what you're getting from now on. So, if you or someone you know into miniatures or more those really strategic kind of games, or just dragons and cool stuff like that, or dungeons as the case may be, D&D Attack Wing is a good one. And on that note, I can also talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So this is of course you know Dungeons & Dragons, the role-playing game, but the 5th edition of the game launched just this year, and we actually did a playback episode on it, which you can watch. And this was our first time playing D&D.
Yeah.
But basically, they've totally, revamped the systems, streamlined a lot of it.
They also made much more about the story, not just rolling dice for combat, which is like, optimizing that. It's more like it's great because I remember you when we were playing on the playback. This is later. You had the control of a character, and you knew we had a head of something that we didn't use.
Right.
So you're just like, "I'll take the head,"
Right.
which was really cool. Except that one friend in our group said, "No, I don't want to do that." So he turned out fighting, and he didn't.
It was a real shame.
He was the George. Once again, the George Costanza group didn't want to give away any money.
If it makes you feel any better, you probably would have ended up fighting that thing later anyway.
Okay.
but yeah, so if you've been scared, you haven't jumped into D&D yet, this is a great launching point. And all the books, the major books, are now out.
Yeah, the Dungeon Master's Guide came out.
You've got the Player's Handbook. Yeah, the Monster Manual.
And they have the Dragon Stories.
Right, the
Tyranny of
Adventure
Dragons
campaigns.
I think
it's all part of Tyranny of Dragons.
Yes.
The first one was Horde of the Dragon
right.
Queen.
The next one is the
Tiamat, Rise of Tiamat. Yeah.
But
so all that stuff
Yeah.
is there for you. Lots of resources, lots of fun stuff to dig
Right.
into. It's really a great one if you've got a group of people that you think would be into it. It's a good way to get started to convince them.
what's also really good about it, which we're trying to do, is you can actually do it online.
Right, of course.
So like if you have a group of people, let's say like old college friends, but you're all have different places in the country. This you can just get on Skype and it'll still work just as fine because you don't really need the components and stuff.
Yeah, so it's cool. If you're already a seasoned RPG veteran, you've probably checked it out already. But
Right.
but if not, maybe you're into more advanced stuff.
Well,
but,
onwards.
But still, for someone else to get them into it,
Yes.
would be a good idea.
So that's our 9.5 suggestion. All right, but let's get to the next one, which also sort of connects to D&D as well.
Yeah, that's right. Well, this is you. You do it.
Well, this next one is Dice Masters. Currently, there is the Marvel's Avengers vs. X-Men and Uncanny X-Men. In this game, it's just like a booster pack collection, but the way it works is before the game sets up, you put out your basic actions and you choose your team, so everyone knows who everyone has right off the bat. There's no secrets like what's in his deck or what is he hiding in his hand.
Right.
And what happens is you start with basic dice in a little baggie, which they give you a little paper on the starter set, but you can get your own, which we did.
We recommend.
Yes. And you pretty much draw 4 from there and you roll and you use to buy other dice or you field them to fight each other. And it's a lot of fun because, we're seeing a lot of favorite Marvel characters on there. And, sorry, I'm lost the English for a second. Why we said it connects to D&D is the next hit is actually Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, we know they have both DC, so we're gonna have Batman versus Spider-Man with Superman, but we also have Yu-Gi-Oh, which is interesting because that might mean they also have connections to the other Shonen Jump series. And this is also WizKids, who makes HeroClix, who has pretty much every single
property.
Almost, it's more than Cryptozoic.
Yeah. So there's a lot of possibilities there.
Yeah. So that's the exciting part. Oh, and one of the biggest things is cheap.
Yeah.
The starter set, the starter basic pack, which actually 2 people play, goes around $15, and packs go for 99 cents.
So this is another really good one. Great for stocking stuffers.
Yeah.
Just throw a bunch of those in there. Really small, really cheap. You can get someone a bunch of them and they'll be happy.
Another nice thing I should also mention, because I've played a lot of other collectible card games, is common cards in this are almost usually still very useful. Because what happens is there'll be like, let's say, a common Wolverine, an uncommon, a rare, and a super rare. If you have, let's say, the super rare by chance, even if you get a common Wolverine, because you always get the die that matches the card in the pack. You get 2 dice, 2 cards. It still gives you another die to use for the rare one. All the dice are the same for the Wolverine family.
Right. So the chances are good if you get a few packs. It's not like, oh, this die, I don't have the card that goes with it.
Right.
They make sure that you're not left out in the card.
So even though you only get 2, I still think it's a
for 99 cents, it's good.
And plus, it still helps your collection a lot. And then by the time you need to trade, people will want to trade for those common cards just to get the die too.
Right. So we've had a lot of fun with it. We're still having fun with it.
And also we should say you only need 1 copy of the card because once you have the 1 copy, you don't need to get a full playset. One is the playset.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely for if CCGs are too much for you. This is probably even more reasonable than Attack Wing, maybe Doomtown in the long run once more sets come out. This is definitely a good budget option for a long-term game.
Right.
Couple more for you. Speaking of stocking stuffers, good small ones. These are now the oldie time games.
Well, yes and no.
That's true. We'll tell you what we mean.
There's a lot of old versions of them, but they're still making new ones.
So the first one is Love Letter, which we just did a playback episode for. And this is a game where you're trying to get your letter to the princess. Basically, it's very simple, small amount of cards. Everyone holds their cards in their hand, and you are trying to figure out what other people have. You're guessing, and the goal is to get other people out of the round, or if you're the last person standing, have the card with the highest value. But there's lots of, as I said, bluffing and trick-taking.
It's a small game. It's really simple. It's a lot of fun.
Take that's.
And because of the way it works, there's a lot of different versions. There's a Batman one coming out very soon.
They just had the Santa one.
There's Munchkin. And I believe, correct me if I'm thinking of a different game, but if you're getting married, you can actually call AEG and get an exclusive marriage version.
That's true. So it's really cool. Very simple.
Which is, I just realized, is really sort of funny because it's like getting a letter to the princess. Like, I'm getting married, so I'm going to try to get the letter to this other woman.
the bride will represent the princess, I'm sure.
So she can't play.
She just sits and watches. Listen, it's in medieval times. It was not as progressive as things are today. But it's fun. It's very cheap, simple, easy to teach. Everyone has fun with it. Fast, the easy one to recommend, and perfect for stocking.
The other one we have, which falls in the same old and new, is Flux. In this game, is pretty much the rules are changing almost every turn, and you have to win by having certain cards out in front of you. But of course, other people can ruin your day,
and the goal can change at any moment.
Time. Right. It's a lot of fun. It's really simple because pretty much the rules are always listed out right in front of you. Even though the rules change, it has hundreds of versions already. Zombie, Stoner, Cthulhu, regular show.
Holiday Flux.
That's
a pretty big one.
And of course, they keep making more.
They keep making more, and this is another one we just did a playback
We
for.
did, and they do mix.
So you can mix them
like if you have two kids, you maybe get one of them like they like regular show, and another one if they like zombies. And then they could choose to mix them if they wanted to.
Yeah, this is a great one, even if someone isn't necessarily into card games. If you know they love outer space or pirates or whatever, Cthulhu, pick up one of those and give it to them.
We should note 5.0 just came out.
It did.
Of the base.
So you can have that shiny new version. So I think those are all our big holiday recommendations.
Well, for now. I mean, we recommend, let's see, we can recommend Arkham, Monopoly, Canamela.
I wouldn't recommend any of those things. But these 10 are it. So please take a look. It's in a book, Reading Rainbow. If you have any suggestions that you think we left off, big games that you think are perfect for the holidays or that you want for the holidays, by the time we hear your suggestions, it might be too late. But you can send them to us. One of the ways you can do that is via email. Our email address is rollforcrit@gmail.com.
And of course, you can always send us a tweet at rollforcrit, or of course, our personal Twitters at Dorkiryu,
at Quentz, or at Ivan Arhan, or at Foamy89, the whole Roll for Crit crew, or you could just leave a comment right on this video. And
you could also subscribe to this video. We'd like that too.
Subscribe, like it, share it, all that stuff. Of course, most importantly, if you want to buy some of these games, which we totally recommend you do, obviously, that's why we had this episode, you can do so at our very own website, rollforcrit.com. We have great deals on all these games. This episode will be out on Monday.
They're watching it Monday, so I would...
Well, my point is, this is out Monday, so I'm saying if you want to guarantee your orders to arrive before Christmas, I recommend placing an order by Wednesday.
Assuming you're getting free or the regular.
That's right. You can
not
get
express
shipping or whatever.
Also,
I said guarantee.
Our site has, besides buying games, obviously, we have our news. Like this will be posted to our other podcasts, other articles, our Kickstarter videos if you want to look at some Kickstarters, and plenty more.
Lots of great stuff. So check all that stuff out and enjoy your holiday season, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Have fun playing games with your family.
I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes, and this has been the Roll for Crate podcast.